watch you as you're sewing and potentially have never done anything like that before.
Mhm.
There's the academic part, there's a technical part, and then of course there's the emotionally intelligent part, which I would surmise, or I would pose as the most important part, which is, I like to say, pretty much the whole everything you need to know you learn in kindergarten part of this, right? Which is being nice to people, reading the room, trying to judge other people's emotions, and therefore, um, adjusting yours in relation to them. Treating everyone with respect, and I will tell you that unfortunately, that's a very hard thing to measure. We've developed a tool that through this, that you may have read that article. We developed a tool to try to measure surgery residents' emotional intelligence. And our next goal is to try to actually make the prospective students take that test. And then at some point, maybe make that a measure of whether or not they're going to be a good surgeon. Because that's the question. How do we know whether or not somebody's going to be a good surgeon? That's a very difficult question to answer.
Mhm.
And sometimes the people that we think are going to be, whatever God's gift to surgery, end up, not being that. And where in the selection process did we go wrong?
Definitely. That's super interesting. I myself am actually an art major on a pre-med track. So you were talking about in your interview about the robotic surgery and different students learning quickly on that, like people who play video games or musicians. And I was curious, as an art student, maybe you've seen some art students as residents, or maybe you've seen some music students, some people who play video games, and how quickly they learn or how well of a surgeon they become with all of your experience.
Yeah, so there was a paper that came out a number of years ago that looked at technical prowess of surgeons, specifically laparoscopically, and now we've got robotically. And they found that people that played music or played a musical instrument seemed to perform better laparoscopically. And that was then also found in people that played video games. And I think it mostly speaks to, well, I think a couple things. I think some of it is hand-eye coordination, which I do think can improve with playing video games. That's part of it.
Mhm.
And music for sure deals with a lot of reading music, hand-eye coordination, and really manual dexterity, which is obviously important as a surgeon. And I think it also, though, speaks to attention to detail, which I think in musicians and artists specifically, it's not just a technical manual part of it. It's your brain part that really pays attention to detail. And what are the best artists? Well, you could argue, maybe you could tell me more than I could tell you what makes a good artist, right? But in my mind, it's a lot of it's